Today on the Tom Kelly Show, my friend Mark and I go for a walk around a random neighborhood in Stamford, Connecticut. So it's a walk and talk. It's a walk and talk. I went to college with Mark, and I'm going to have Mark critique my life.
The Tom Kelly Show!
Sing it, baby!
I want you to know about the Tom Kelly Show. I want you all to know about the Tom Kelly Show. Dun, dun, dun.
All right.
Everyone leave the money right there. Nobody says at the end.
Yes. Content warning, spoiler alert. So good to catch up with an old friend. You're experiencing the Tom Kelly Show. So when you talk about the benefits of podcasting, folks, go start your own right now. I have a number of friends who like to call this the Tom Kelly conference call. And man, I believe that sometimes. The nice thing about having a podcast is, hey, people can listen to what's going on in my life without actually having to talk to me. Which brings me to my friend Mark Epstein, who's walking with me right now. Mark and I went to college together. We did the TV station thing together. And what was fun about Mark was Mark had a great career doing lighting work in television and gave it all up to be a dad, to help his first wife live a great career in whatever she wound up doing, help her chase her education. And we won't get too into that part. Don't worry, I see the face already.
No, there's no face. That's just my face.
But Mark is very zen. Mark is very zen. And the cool thing about the podcast is Mark knows everything going on in my life from the podcast. And I guess this is a great moment to please critique my life. Mark and I worked on the college TV station together. So we each have a little wireless microphone on. Do you remember the wireless microphone thing we did together? It was for when I had the cable access talk show. It was my favorite episode of our cable access talk show.
I don't think I remember this.
We went so when they first invented.
Is this a Santa Claus thing?
Yes.
Okay.
We first invented wireless cameras or wireless microphones. We basically walked around Hamden, where I would walk into businesses dressed as Santa and would screw around with people. But the real wonder, the real marvel was that we had a wireless camera.
And it wasn't necessarily Christmas time when we did this, was it?
We aired it around Christmas time, but you're right, we're in college. It wasn't Christmas time. So it had to be between Thanksgiving and Christmas, maybe.
So a little odd that Santa was walking into a TGI Fridays or something.
So that was the best one. And the clip is on my YouTube buried somewhere, but there is a line, who wants to buy Santa a shot? Was and then it was Santa owes $9.75.
And we couldn't bring the camera in, so it was all from the outside.
Oh yeah, so Mark was outside with the camera. Yeah, and now we're using this walk and talk selfie technology, where it's all Bluetooth now. It's all Bluetooth.
Go over there. That's a dead end.
That's a dead end, but we'll go ring the bell and just keep walking around. And that's what we're doing.
So anyways, criticizing your life. Stop talking. Everyone hears you talk enough.
Good, go for it.
I took a picture of this, which is wonderful. Like, I hear you on your podcast all the time.
Right.
And first of all, let's paint the scene for that. Is I don't sleep well, so I'm up early many mornings. So before dawn, I'm on my bike and I'm riding and I'm listening often to this podcast. And I'm thinking about Tom in different places, talking about this little gimbal arm, talking about all the things, and now I get to see it. This is living the dream here of putting it all together for me.
So actually, how does the podcast, let's start with this. How does the podcast, as we turn around now, hit a dead end, how does the podcast make you feel? That's a great question, because I have some people who say it makes them feel better. Some people who say, I had one friend say, Tom, I listened to it just because you're on it, but wouldn't listen to it if it wasn't you. What do you get out of it?
I mean, I get keeping up with Tom with you because I don't talk to you that often. So this gives me an update on my friend's life, what's going on. And I like the jokes. I like to hear what you've been up to. I'm not so into the interviews, gotta be honest.
You're not? Okay, some people are into them and some people hate them.
It depends on the content. And now might just be my personal thing, is of all the podcasts that I listen to that are interview based, if I don't care for the person, I might not listen to the interview.
Okay.
So like if the person's not interesting to me, then I don't listen just for the sake of subscribing to a podcast.
Now, we talked about this last week with my friend Pete. Do you think I'm better when I'm talking to a friend? Or do you like me talking all by myself alone?
I don't think it's better or worse either way. I think
Interesting.
I think you're doing a pretty good interview when you're interviewing people and you're into the subject. I think I think all podcasts are, all productions are good when you have a purpose to it.
Right.
And that said, sometimes the best ones from you are the ones where you didn't have a plan. You might have overthought it and tried to record it 17 times.
Yeah.
And then you just, you know what, I'm just going to get something out and I'm just going to talk. And those are the ones that kind of feel from the heart and from the moment. And that's when I get to really catch up with where you're at and not what you want the world to think you're at.
Yeah. You know, like I keep thinking of my grandmother lately when I do the podcast.
What was her name?
Grandma, and
She must have had a first name.
Mary Peranio, but the thing is, that was my Italian grandma.
Okay.
Both my grandmas were actually Mary, but the Irish one was called May. I never really got to meet her. When I say never really got to meet her, I definitely never met her because she died like at least 7 years before I was born. If I'm doing, yeah, we can figure out the math on that later. But the Italian grandma would always say, "What makes you so special?" You know, and you sort of think about that. Like, you know, there's always a little moment in comedy where you have to believe you're special.
Yeah.
You know, like there had to be something narcissistic about me to make me think I was worth doing a cable access talk show, for example. You know, like actually, did you think I was a narcissist back then?
No.
What did you think of me back in college? I mean, and you knew me in some ways at my happiest point in college.
Huh.
Well, like it was, like what I loved about college was, I mean, if you think about it, me doing this podcast, this is QCTV, but done on the cheap. I'm with a friend, I'm creating a thing.
But technically with probably more expensive equipment than was even available then.
Well, I mean,
more sophisticated.
Yeah, more sophisticated, but not more expensive. I do, you know, like what I loved about college was we would create content and we put it out, and there was no way to quantify whether or not it was a success. So I always felt it was a success. But I also then had friends who would say, "Tom, you just love looking at yourself." And you're right, here I am, my hair's a mess, I'm going bald, I'm wearing my glasses, and even right now, at my least attractive of not being an attractive man, I love doing the close-up for the YouTube.
I mean, I think it's just, there are people who have a desire to be in front of the camera and entertain.
Right.
And having to see your face is a byproduct of that, and it's just what it is.
So in some ways, you are living the fantasy life that I don't have the balls to live. And let's put a pause on this, that we know that there was certain relationship pressures to do this. But you gave up working in Boston, traveling around the United States to go work at big corporate events, and you did it to run a bike shop. Actually, let me pause and go back one question.
I think you're missing a lot of points.
I'm skipping a lot of points. Let's start with this. You biked across the country.
Yeah.
Was there any big, I learned something about life biking across the country?
I think I just learned a lot about life. Yeah.
What did you learn? Like, was there like one big, holy crap, my mind has been blown sort of a moment?
I think I grew as a person, and I knew the world became a lot smaller. At least this country became a lot smaller to me as I got to make individual connections with people I would meet randomly. And I found there's a power and vulnerability to being on a bicycle traveling through the country that people would be open to talking and wanting to share and be a part of that.
Yeah.
So you got a better side of people than just pulling into a town in a car and getting out of a car, where on a bike people wanted to know what you were up to, and then all of a sudden they wanted to like, "Oh, that's great, I want to talk more, can I buy you food?
Really?
Would you like to stay at my house?" Yeah.
And how many weeks did it take you to bike across the country?
Oh, we were out there for like 4.5 months.
Was it that long?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember getting a phone call. So one thing I love about my pop is my pop walks to the ends of dead ends. You know, and it is. And the nice thing about walking a dead end is nobody's going to run you over on the, like, I love biking and walking down dead ends for myself even, because there's no chance if anybody runs you over, it's down to 6 houses. You know, and they're going to know if you get run over walking down a dead end block, odds are there'll be witnesses and they'll be able to track down who the murderer is.
Here we are in Connecticut, in the Midwest where I'm at now. People are getting shot when they walk into the wrong property by accident.
Okay, point.
Let's not get into that.
No. We are exploring our white privilege, and that's my thing about white privilege. I don't want mine taken away. I just want to share it with everybody.
Yeah.
I want everybody to have the privilege to walk down a dead end without getting a dirty look, and here we are.
Anyways, but I want to say that I don't think I necessarily gave up what you said I gave up. I was tired of traveling and I was sick of the work I was doing. And even before I left Boston at the time, I had transitioned into a different kind of like job that I had been doing. So I wasn't traveling anymore, but I was tired of the video industry.
Okay, so actually and this is why we podcast. No,
And I tried to remain a video engineer and operations manager in Detroit, where I moved out.
But you were tired of it even by then.
But when that job fell through, I decided that I was sick of it, and I was just going to start working in bike shops for a little while.
And let's sound crazy for a minute, because in some ways it's what I'm doing, and in some ways it's not. But you turned your hobby, let's dumb it down. I'm dumbing it down with this sentence.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you turned your hobby into a job? Or did you turn your passion into a job? Or are you just working 9 to 5?
I think there's been moments of both, right? But I definitely turned what was my hobby and my passion, the thing I would have done every day if I didn't have to work,
right,
into something that now earns money. And in and through that, I've been able to grow and help other people enjoy it as well. And, I manage a bike store. I'm not making a ton of cash, but I help expand access to cycling to a lot of people and make that better for them.
Including me. Listen, if it weren't for your friendship, I have 3 great bikes. One is my brother's old mountain bike, and the other 2 are great bikes that I got because of you. And then for those of you who see my Instagram bike selfies, that all started from the days of me sending Mark those pictures before there was some place I could just post them. So yeah, I definitely, actually, I'm probably, the fact that I haven't had my heart attack or stroke yet is probably a testimony to what you are accomplishing every day at work.
So how much do you bike now?
So, and now we get into the conflicts of my life. I have had a great week. I actually have. A comedy club, let's do the dead end walk. The comedy club I spend a lot of time working at, but a comedy club that was a gift and simultaneously holding me back went out of business. We've talked about this on the podcast. I have gone out to 2 or 3 different new comedy clubs this week. I don't think I've got 2 bookings. I actually have a big audition on Monday, which will...
At a comedy club?
I don't want to say a big audition, but I have a big guest spot at a comedy club, The Stand. And that's one where there's a lot of younger, cooler kids.
Oh.
Everybody's better looking and has a huge social media following, and I'm actually a little bit insecure about doing it. Put that in the pocket for a second, but there are things I love doing at night as a comedian that if I were not close to the game, I don't know if I would have done it. Like I had 2 beers at 1 a.m. I stayed up till 3 twice this week. So I like going to bed at night, but I love waking up in the suburbs in neighborhoods like this. Like, look, it's like, we're a little bit past peak foliage, but there's foliage. It's nice. It's fresh air. It's 55 degrees out, 60 degrees out. I'm walking. I'm actually getting the body moving. So to answer your question, I'm not biking enough. I am out of shape. I'm getting 1 a week in if I'm lucky.
There you go.
There was a point on different years, on great years, I do it three times a week.
Nice.
It's funny, we're recording this on daylight savings time.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the day, it's funny, dude. And the day of automatic clock, I used to joke with my friend Mike McGarrigle back in the 90s that there was a clock fairy. And you know how there's a tooth fairy?
Yeah.
Mike and I used to joke that there would be the clock fairy, and the clock fairy will turn around and definitely no walking up the no trespassing driveway.
You mean the one that says trespassers will be eaten by zombies?
And you know what's funny? I am afraid of that.
Yeah, I'm not.
You're not?
I'm not afraid.
You're not.
Like I still won't say Candyman 3 times in a mirror because I saw that movie, and I do believe that was a product of fiction.
Yeah.
In the cinema, but I'm not going to risk it.
Yeah. So I like. So to your point, why? Yeah. What are you getting out of it? Like if you go Candyman, say it a 3rd time, what are you getting out of that?
Yeah, I mean,
other than tempting fate.
I would do Beetlejuice several times, but I got to be in the right spot.
But that would be a great Beetlejuice.
I mean, as long as it's Michael Keaton, but in the character. If you could say Michael Keaton, and Heath showed up,
Oh my God, what a great day. Michael.
It didn't work, just so you know. It didn't work.
Oh my God, I love that we got a mile in so far too, which is good. So, but you and I rambling for a minute here. So when you get into, am I biking with you? You shared your love of biking. And the hard part with fitness is, and I was saying this to you just as we were starting to walk, is I spend all this time hiking in beautiful places and exercising in beautiful places. But a lot of time goes into me driving to the beautiful place.
Dude,
a lot of time goes into me mounting the bike in the beautiful place. Whereas my friend Charlie Jaquillard used to say, the nice thing about running is you just put on your damn shoes and go. And I need to get a little bit more into managing time. So I don't know.
To make you jealous of the life that I've been able to create in Michigan, we should go this way.
Yeah, let's go. I'm following your lead.
I have myself situated in a place where, of course, running, you can run from anywhere. But out my door, I have all the mountain bike trails that exist in my town. So I can get a good hour of mountain biking in easily. I can also be 10 minutes up a paved road, and I'm on all the gravel and dirt roads that exist, hundreds of miles of dirt roads. And then there's paved roads as well if I want to be a road biker and get all spandexed up. And we get to take advantage of that all the time. We're also on a river, so we get to do some boating in the summer if we're actually
and there's a part of me that could very easily, oh, come on, gimbal. There we go. Come on, gimbal. And there's a part of me, 3, 2, 1, and there is a part of me that could very easily live a life like that. If I could figure out, what if I could figure out a 9 to 5 that brought me enough joy and enough security, not necessarily money, but the illusion that I could provide for myself in the world if the world fell apart.
Yeah.
Like you and I were talking about income disparity without getting too into the details later. Like I loved years ago, my grandmother was refusing to get a new TV set, and I just went out and bought the damn thing and pretended I won it in a raffle.
Huh. I
don't know, but you talked about this. Could you live my life?
Yeah, we were talking about this before. I lived the freelance life in video engineering and videography when I was younger, and it was a stressful thing to not know when the next work was going to come, or potentially have no work ever coming back. And the 9 to 5 that's a shackle in a way, but to know that you have responsibilities and that you're part of a bigger machine that helps other people live their lives and also helps support who become your friends, hopefully coworkers, get money on their table to feed their families and just be a part of that symbiotic thing. I find that very comforting.
Yeah.
So I don't think I could live the hustle life that you do, the one that you're always looking for what's next, or like you were talking about how you have some auditions and it's stressful as all hell.
Yeah. And it's funny just getting into like where I'm at for comedy and creating. Listen, whether it be The View, Good Morning America, or even for pennies on the dollar, the LOL Comedy Club, I had crutches. I had stability. And most people in my business aren't lucky enough to get that stability. Now, I'll argue that the very, 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 very successful people create because they didn't have that stability. I'll also argue, we'll do once around this parking lot and head back. But I'll argue that very, very successful people may not have had stability, but I'll also argue the people who quit and didn't last didn't have any stability either. There's nothing sadder than seeing a comedian as I go down this grassy slope. No, there's nothing sadder, man, than seeing a comedian die broken poor. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I have that, like, it's funny. I have that half I want to be an artist thing, and then I have that half am I an ungrateful bastard taking advantage of 2 generations of people who worked their ass off to send me to go to to send their idiot son to go to a fancy private school that I went to with you to go tell jokes in a bar at night. You know, now I have other stuff going on, don't get me wrong.
But that's an interesting thing, because that's something that I know a lot of people struggle with, and I've had to let go of, is I think that the history of my family has seen some good financial success.
Right.
And I feel like I'm not achieving that level of financial success. Like if there's a building process that's supposed to happen where each subsequent generation makes more money and achieves more, I feel like I'm missing the mark. But the more I learn about what my parents' motivations were and my grandparents' motivations, especially when my family came to this country. It was about what I think I might be living now, which is living a good life, being safe and being happy and being fulfilled. And
Like you were talking about your dad went to med school. Did you feel pressure to go to med school?
Well, my dad went to med school because his father wanted him to become a doctor. And then just when he realized the system, he realized, I don't want this for me, and became a pharmacist.
Okay.
Because pharmacist was less schooling, required all the medical stuff at the base of it, but didn't require all the after of that. So he got into pharmaceuticals, and he led a great life, hated his job, never really loved it.
Right.
And the lesson I at least took from that was I should endeavor to have a career that I enjoy.
And do you love your job?
I do. And especially without getting too much details, after going through a divorce and realizing that my ex-wife, my children's mom, who is very career-driven, one of the things I could do best to be an example for my kids is to choose happiness over money. And of course, be responsible. I need to pay bills, but given the choice, I would rather not chase money down so much as chase fulfillment and happiness. And I think I've been able to find that. I think I've been able to find a great place and a balance in that.
Good God, Mark, you know, I could tell you listen to the show because you just gave me the punchline I'm looking for.
Oh, no.
So now making this about me is...
I'm a punchline?
No, that's the...
The punchline I wanted to say was, you have a hell of a lot more success as a comedian than you have any right to be, considering how not funny you are.
Well, I know I'm funny, but it's the success is what I'm arguing about. I deserve more success. I know I'm hilarious. I know I'm funny. I mean, but when you get into, I guess that brings me to sort of what I was going to say. Watch me take the deepest thing you've ever said and make it about me. But if you are one of the core people listening to this every week, like Jacob Lee Downey wrote me a note that I should be bragging more about things going on in my life, and I don't disagree with that. I have other people saying I want more of your shows on Taylor Swift and news. I have other people saying, no, Tom, keep the feel-good stuff. And then I know other people who have said, hey, Tom, the pandemic's over. Stop whining. Your life has moved on. And I guess the real question is, what do you want to hear from me every morning besides just a conference call on whether or not the Jeep's in the shop, which, by the way, it is? I mean, that's the real question of the world right now. Is what else? What are you getting out of this? You know, or what do you want out of this? What do you want from me, man? What do you want from me?
I think you got a lot of people who care about you, and I think you wouldn't be able to work if you spent all your time having individual phone calls and emails and text threads with them, giving them updates on what's been going on in your life. I think as a service for all of us who care about you, you are making a one-stop shopping for keeping up with Tom and his life.
Yeah.
And I think that's really convenient. You're doing a service for us.
But yeah, big ending, but just I love, so I'm trying to integrate being Mark with being Tom. And listen, and that's the show, people. Listen, that's the show. Mark, do you want a magic mirror? Do you want to say hi to anybody? Say hi. Who do you want to do the magic mirror to?
Show love where love can be shown.
Okay.
I see Chris Delenick. I see Mary Stelmagic.
Yes!
And I see Fred the truck driver.
Fred the mailman. Yes, you did it. Oh my God, saying the names at the end works. All right, and most importantly, folks, I see you. New shows every Monday and Wednesday, and maybe some surprises along the way. And until next time, folks, good night, Stanford.